David Rantisi here from Wake Up It's Football, and with SB Nation previewing your wild card weekend game between the Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings. Just a few days ago, we witnessed a great game between the two teams. The Vikings edged the Packers out 37-34. But just looking real quick at the first game, you had the Packers beat the Vikings at Lambeau Field 23-14. Although Adrian Peterson did have 210 rushing yards, it didn't really show much, on the scoreboard. But Adrian Peterson did tear up that Packers defense. Like I mentioned in last week's game, you had the Vikings edge out the Packers 37-34. Again, Adrian Peterson showed to be a monster with 199 rushing yards, a touchdown on the ground and a touchdown in the air. So previewing this matchup, it's going to be interesting because when you think of that Minnesota Vikings offense, and if you're a Packers player on that defense, you're thinking of one person being Adrian Peterson. And I'm going to make an argument on why that's not the person who the Packers need to be concerned about. Although Adrian Peterson does rush for 210 yards or 199 yards, the reason why I'm going to pick Christian Ponder as being the guy the Packers need to be slightly more concerned about is because of this. He had his career game against the Green Bay Packers just a few days ago. 234 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He hasn't thrown for 3 touchdowns all season long. I'm not sure about his first season last year, but I know for this entire season he has not thrown for 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. Adrian Peterson, I just told you, he ran for 210 yards in Lambeau Field, and the Vikings didn't win. Okay, so it's going to come down to this. You put pressure on Christian Ponder, you force him to make bad decisions, a few interceptions, the Packers will win this game guaranteed. The Packers are 7-1 at home. The Vikings, on the other hand, are 3-5 on the road. So the Vikings struggle on the road. The Packers are great at Lambeau Field. I see this where if you put pressure on Ponder, you force him to make mistakes, the Packers are going to be a team that's going to come out on top. On the other hand, if you want to look at Aaron Rodgers, he threw for 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, although he did fumble the ball once. He lost that fumble. I believe Aaron Rodgers is just going to have to come and do what he does, week in and week out. There's not going to be much of a question. Although he did get sacked 5 times last week against the Vikings, I don't think that's going to be a problem because that is actually normal. Aaron Rodgers got sacked 5 times. That offensive line has not been stellar at all. They're actually been giving up the most sacks in the league. And, it kind of sucks for Aaron Rodgers. But the point is, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be fine. He's going to, handle his business at Lambeau Field. Like I mentioned, the X factor is going to be the Packers defense. And yeah, if they can stop Adrian Peterson, but if they can force Christian Ponder to make mistakes. So if you want to say it, I think Christian Ponder is going to have to be the impact performer on his team for the Vikings to succeed and to beat the Packers at Lambeau. And I mean, who do you want to pick on the Packers defense? Arguably, you can pick anybody. B.J. Rodgers has been looking great these last few games. But I mean, let's say Clay Matthews. He's going to be the guy I think who's going to have to step up, put pressure on Christian Ponder. He's the #1 guy on that team who does that. So I'm going to pick Christian Ponder being the guy for the Vikings and Clay Matthews being the guy for the Green Bay Packers this weekend. Watch out for those 2 performances and pay attention because whoever has the better performance, I think their team will win. So throw down in the comments below who you think will win this matchup and why they will win this matchup. I'm interested to see what you guys think. Again, this is David from Wake Up It's Football and with SB Nation.